And we're live. Hello, welcome to Mr. J Rock Talk.
Hi, I'm Ryan Jenner today with the weather. But before that, we're going to have a little Rollingstone
Review.
We're going to go start at the 15th song of their greatest songs of all time. Like just Rolling Stone magazine's 15
Yeah,
best
it's like their
songs.
top 500 of all time.
Yeah, but we didn't really feel like making a 300-hour video, so we're going to narrow it down to the 15.
So we're kind of, we took a peek at the songs, but we hopefully we'll know most of them. So we'll start right at number 15, and it is, according to them, the 15th best song of all time, all genres, is The Beatles' I Want to Hold Your Hand.
I don't think it's a secret that the Beatles are probably one of the best things to ever happen to music.
So
It doesn't surprise me that they would have a song like that, because if you look back at 1963-64, when they were going live on TV and stuff, people would go wild over songs like that, because it was so different, so upbeat, so much more rock and rolly, I guess to say, that it just, people went nuts over it. So it doesn't surprise me they put probably their most well-known early material, to put that up there is, I would say, it's
do you
pretty
think it's
fair.
their best song?
I don't think it's their best song. I think they got better with age. Like towards the end is my
Their writing got better.
yeah, because they got
I guess they're, yeah.
yeah, because they took a very different curve, you know, in the mid '60s from the silly love songs and all that to talking about Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band to Yellow Submarines and
Which you think Yellow Submarine is better?
no, no, I
Okay.
don't.
Okay, Josh, what do you think? You think it belongs in top 15? You think it should be higher, lower?
I don't know. I think it's really hard to put like any song, like all songs of all time, into one, because I feel like you gotta put them into categories.
Like genres, like rock
Yeah.
and this and that.
Yeah, because I feel like every single song on it is gonna be a curveball because it's so,
Yeah, like I
yeah.
look, like, is it just a representation? Like they're just like, the Beatles belong up there, so we're just going to pick a Beatles song.
They could choose really anything, and I would say, okay,
Yeah,
it's a Beatles
exactly.
song, but you got to narrow it down to their best stuff. I wouldn't put "I Want to Hold Your Hand" as their best song. I would take something very different, like "Let It Be," where it had such a beautiful meaning towards
I
it.
think Let It Be cross genres more than this too.
Yes,
I think
agree.
a lot more people would know it either from movies or from whatever.
Yeah, but most
Yeah.
people would know both songs. But I think if you were to put more of a value of a song, I would probably go with "Let It Be," just because there's a whole story with it.
And maybe Let It Be is further up the list. So we'll hold on to that. Beatles definitely top 15, probably higher, but we'll see. But I agree, it's not their best representation.
Yes.
Number 14 is the Kinks' Waterloo Sunset from 1967.
See, I didn't know that song until the original version till today. I only knew the Def Leppard version that was on their 2006 record, Yeah, where they did a bunch of covers. And that was the only song that I really knew, and I didn't even know it was by the Kinks. I thought,
It was just Def Leppard.
yeah, pretty much,
Yeah.
but I would. It's a nice song, don't get me wrong, but it's not exactly what I'd put at number 14 to narrow it down.
What about you, Josh? Not a top 15 song?
No,
No, I don't think so. Again,
I only know the Def Leppard one.
if it was that great, I think more people would know it now. Like the Beatles. A lot of people know the Beatles.
Yeah.
You
I think
know?
"I Want to Hold Your Hand" would even be above that, because people know and they listen to it all the time, like today.
But I mean, if this is maybe in, I don't know, some other country,
Yeah.
Britain, maybe it's like amazing or something. I don't know, but yeah, I agree. Number 13 is the Rolling Stones. Give Me Shelter.
Definitely one of their greatest hits.
I agree.
Definitely, because it's on so many soundtracks where something cool is going down. and they got some song like that that's going on that has some groovy guitar playing, some wacky lyrics, because it's Rolling Stones. It's going to be...
It's the third song in a row from the 60s, too. 69.
Yeah, they're really liking the 60s, but that was a very defiant time.
And it's, like kind of a similar type band, too.
To the last two bands,
It's
yeah.
odd that it's almost like they had one person from a genre say, hey, what are give me your next three and we'll throw it on the list. And then they go to a different, I don't know, I guess we'll see. When
It sounds like it was someone who grew up at that time is just writing what they had.
it was his turn to pick 3 songs to be in the top 15.
But as the song, though, I would say it's earned its mark, definitely up there. It's a great song.
I would say the Rolling Stones belong in the top 15. And
Yes.
if that's the song they're going to pick, great. Like
I'm not even going to fight it on that. Yeah.
Again, I would think there's other songs that still today get more airplay and cross genres more than this song. But if this is a song, then I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good song, pretty awesome band.
And then we have number 12, Stevie Wonder, Superstition.
That's something we probably all know.
1972.
Yeah, it's still kind of in that range or whatever, but
yeah,
it's a cool song when you want to watch ice skating too. I'll give it that.
yeah.
We went on a cruise.
Yeah. Well, and that's actually
it's a pretty entertaining
it
song.
Being here, right? Because we're on
Yes.
a cruise, and as of today, there's still like, this song 50 years later.
It's
or
a
whatever,
good tune to dance to and all that for sure.
It's still got its place. So I'll say sure.
Yeah.
That's fine. That makes sense. Number 11, the Beach Boys, God Only Knows.
Man, they're really
What do you think, Josh?
loving this time.
Now, this is 66. Back to the 60s.
Definitely a good song, but honestly, I don't really understand the whole list because you don't know if they're talking about what's the best catchy song, what's the best ballad song.
Monetary, what made the most money.
But as the song as a whole, though,
a song as a whole,
and maybe its impact on society. You know what I mean? Was it all over the place? I just don't think it. I think back then it was, but I think it also phased out.
I don't think we would ever really understand the depth of those songs, though, because we didn't know what it was like to hear that on the radio versus now we can put anything.
Boys. I highly doubt it was some revolution
No, it was like, I guess, the mid '60s or so, but but bands like that were very in with the new trends and stuff like that. Just upbeat songs like that. That was what people were about.
Yeah, they're starting to get me with all these 60 bands, so I'm kind of.
I want to see some more
top 15, and you have four bands from the 60s, 70s era. Come on.
I want to hear some stuff, from the 80s and 90s as well.
Number 10, here we go, 2003.
Oh, boy.
Outkast, Hey Ya.
That song turns 20 for all you people. That makes you want to feel old.
Yeah.
Sort of why.
It's hard to believe 20.
That song's as old as I am.
What do you think, Josh? You know this song?
It's a good song to hype up people, but it's honestly, there's not really anything super impressive about it. It's kind of just a really average, pop kind of song that's just really catchy.
I think they give it points because they say it's funk, pop, rap, and rock.
Yeah, they try to cross genres with that song.
So I mean,
for sure.
it hits the mark with Rolling Stone saying, "Hey, it's got all the genre." Check.
Yep.
I will give it credit that it's a catchy song and it's not a bad song at all, but
it does kind of cross genres.
It gets old with me real quick.
I don't think it belongs in the top 100.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
I can only listen to that song once a year, and that's about it. Don't worry, it's just a ghost.
I wouldn't even put it probably in the top 500.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Good song, but there's thousands of good songs.
There's better.
We'll move along. So that cracks into the top 10. So number 9, Fleetwood Mac, Dreams, 1977.
That's taking a big leap back, but I would say yes. I'm not going to complain with that because that is a good song.
Yeah, I mean, I
It made the
wanna-
Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, and that's
There
like
you
the
go.
greatest soundtrack of all time.
There you go. That's a good point.
So, if anything from that was just, in my opinion, just golden.
What do you think, Josh? You like Dreams?
Like what?
Do you like the song Dreams?
Oh, I don't know it.
Yeah.
What?
I think you'd know it if you
I
heard
probably
it.
heard. I probably didn't recognize it.
Thunder only happens when it's raining. Do you know that lyric?
I don't know. You have to
Players-
sing it out
Think
for
of
me.
a female saying it nice and smooth.
It's Stevie Nicks who sings it.
Ryan, sing it for us.
I'm not singing anything for you.
Anyway, I look at
I love that song.
is the band like a legit superstar band, and they check that box.
Yes.
Top 10, and that's the previous one. No, they're out right away. Fleetwood Mac does check that mark. Representation.
I would
of them
keep them in
Dreams.
there.
Yeah, they've had enough songs where you just say, okay, is that
They have
the
enough
one?
songs on that one record, Rumors, to,
Oh boy. Number 8,
get your freak on.
Missy Elliott, Get Your Freak On.
No. No.
Ah.
It is not one I would put in the top most beautiful songs or best songs or really anything. It's just not one I'd listen to on the daily thinking, man, I could sure listen to that song today.
Yeah, but
There's-
again, it's not our genre, so it's
It's
hard
not
to
our
say.
genre, but at the same time, it's nothing that appeals to me.
I don't think it crossed into pop, but not very much, I don't think. Like it didn't it
It was just something you'd play in the background at like a party or something like
yeah,
that.
I just don't think it was broad enough. Success was broad enough to really count it in the
Yeah.
top 10.
I think music at that time kind of lost like the beautiful soul feeling. Like I know we already said there's a lot of songs in the 60s and 70s, but I do think that was a good time for.
Speaking of which, number 7, the Beatles, Strawberry Fields Forever, 1967. So the Beatles, two in the top 15.
It's a good song.
As we said before,
Yeah.
like the Beatles, they got to be up there no matter what because they inspired pretty much everyone you could think of, and if it didn't inspire you, it inspired the people before you.
Yeah, it seems like there was a song for everybody.
Yeah,
Like,
they-
like they have all these kind of slow, but then they have like Revolution, and
Yeah, and those songs have good meaning too. Like,
yeah, and they're good. Yeah,
but
so
Strawberry Fields Forever, I'm pretty sure that's about some kind of drug trip, and that was a pretty big thing for the 60s because it wasn't really talked about. It was one of those songs where people go, "Oh dear Lord, I never." But this is one of those songs that people listen to, and it's like, "Oh my God, what are they getting into? How do they feel like this? How do they write pen to paper with this and come with a song out with it?"
says it was the first song cut at Sgt. Pepper sessions, but it was left off the album. So it's kind of part of that the newer Beatles sound, which makes sense. You can tell
does.
it's polished more than the older stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
So would you replace it? Would you replace it and say number 7 Beatles?
there would be a Beatles song I would put before that one. Like we said before, it's a good song, but there's songs that are better than it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very different song from I Want to Hold Your Hand. Very different,
Yeah.
but it's not the greatest of that era in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think to me, even like Yesterday holds more of an impact than this. Like I know a lot.
Hey,
of
it made a movie cover name.
Yeah, so Josh, number 6 is Marvin Gaye, What's Going On?
What's going on?
What do you think?
It's an okay.
1971.
It's an okay song.
I think it belongs 100%. I
Yeah?
think it's in movies.
It's just a background song that everyone kind of knows and wiggles their fingers to.
Yeah, like it's Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye deserves to be top 10, I think. And What's Going On is probably his most known song, so it makes sense to me.
It's better than the Four Non-Blondes. What's going on? I hate that song with that better not be on there.
We'll see. Number 5 is Nirvana,
Yeah.
Smells Like
Yeah, look.
Teen Spirit.
Never heard of that
I'm
one
the
before.
biggest Nirvana fan in the world, and I'm going to tell everyone this right now. That's not their greatest song. It was popular, sure. It had a cool guitar riff and some gnarly drum beats and some lyrics that people would scream.
I'm going to break this down a little bit.
But
Do you
no.
think Nirvana, if they're saying Nirvana holds number 5 because they started grunge, do you think they started grunge?
No, I don't think they did.
And do you think Nirvana...
I think they were the coolest grunge
Okay,
band.
do you think grunge itself is like a top 5 genre?
That's all an opinion thing, but if you ask me, it's my favorite genre of all time. Like Nirvana, Silverchair, Pearl Jam,
Pearl Jam
anything
might be a
Chris
better one on
Cornell.
there.
Well, it depends on who you are. Like
Yeah,
you might like Pearl Jam better. I will always be a Nirvana fan.
But I just think
but-
overall, big picture, Pearl Jam's huge long haul success. Like you want to talk, Foo Fighters, Pearl Jam, crazy.
Stone Temple Pilots and Soundgarden, all those guys.
Yeah.
They put out, in my opinion, the most interesting time of music and the most gnarliest sound of music. And if you were to probably narrow it down, it'd be between Pearl Jam, Nirvana, between those two bands.
I would think so.
But I wouldn't put Smells Like Teen Spirit as the greatest song.
What would you put? Number 5, Nirvana, and then what song? They're like, Ryan, we need a song to put here.
Heart-Shaped Box. That is my favorite song of all time.
Yeah, that's a good song. Josh, you think this one or you think Heart Shaped Box?
Oh, Heart-Shaped Box is definitely better than
He's played both so many times on the drums, I actually did not know what you would say, because we cover Nirvana like every night.
Yeah. 1991, it's good to get the 90s in there.
That's my favorite year of music.
Do you think, where would you put Nirvana on the list?
Well, if you're going to ask me who's a Nirvana fan and listens to them every day, I'm going to put them at number 1.
You think they're the number 1 rock song would be Nirvana of all time?
I don't think
song of all time.
Number 1 song of all time.
You got to step away a little bit. You can't say my favorite.
Okay. If I were to narrow it down to what I think it was, I feel like we should be saying this after number 1.
We'll do that, but just this specific instance, Nirvana. If Rolling Stone comes to you and says we need an unbiased opinion, where do you put Nirvana? Do you put them number 5? Knowing that there's every other song in the world, because I feel like they're not even top 100. I love Nirvana.
I would put them in the top 10, but that's my opinion.
Fair enough. Number 4, Bob Dylan, Like a Rolling Stone, 1965.
I'm not the biggest Bob Dylan fan, if I'm being honest. He's very nasally in his voice, and it's one of those voices where it's like, I kind of understand why he's famous lyrically, but as he sings and as I hear the music, it's not my favorite.
I think songwriters of all time.
He's a great songwriter. He's did Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Yeah.
And it
But
was
if you listen to his version, you'd be
versus the Guns N' Roses one.
You're like,
it was written by the same guy.
I know, but one
songwriter, he deserves to be, I would even say, in the top maybe 7.
Oh, I think top 3 at least. Yeah, he's really great, but song-wise, not even top 500.
Yep.
Yeah. You agree, Josh?
Yes.
Okay, great. Number 3, Sam Cooke. A Change Is Gonna Come.
If I'm being honest, that stuff goes over my head.
1964.
I can get down with music like that sometimes, but very rarely. I'm not that kind of a guy where I go back and I listen to songs like that. My interest starts at stuff like Elvis and Johnny Cash. It's not like that really for me.
Well, it's funny because I guess when he wrote this song, he had heard a song that inspired him by Bob Dylan, Blowing in the Wind. Interesting that it just happened to be back-to-back songs with Bob Dylan reference, but yeah, get that out of the top 500. Sorry. If we're talking 1965 and we're having this conversation, maybe this 1963 song is in the top 5. No, there's No.
There's a lot more to pick from.
All right, number 2. If I can get down. Here we go. Public Enemy, Fight the Power, 1989. Is this the first 80s?
This is the biggest jump between music genres I've ever seen on the list.
Yeah, I even listened to this song on the way here. Sorry, it didn't cross genres enough for me to say it was impactful enough to be number 2. Number 2 all time. Number 2 all time.
I wouldn't even put that in the top 500, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can get down with songs like that, like, you know, rap songs like that, where it's kind of cross genres between rap and metal, kind of. It's not really for me. There's the only songs I know by them are from the Jackass movies.
It's saying
That's really it.
It awoken the black community to a revolution. In 1989, I guess I was only 10. I don't remember that, but I mean, I don't know that does.
Like, I understand like the meaning of it, like fight the power. That's like trying to say stand up to what you think is right, and you know it sends the message across, but it doesn't appeal to me that way. I am not one for being of. I can't really put myself in that position to kind of understand why that song was so impactful.
I think if you're going to look at the 80s decade and what should represent it, I think Bon Jovi deserves it more than anybody.
Bon Jovi and...
Just because, like, you couldn't get away from them. They were everywhere. They were crossing genres. But that's just my opinion. Number 1, Josh, I want your take on it. The number 1 song of all time, according to Rolling Stone. Aretha Franklin, Respect, 1967. What do you think?
I don't even know that one.
Yeah, you do.
R.E.S. I probably heard it before. I can't name it by just name.
Really? I thought it was big enough that you would... Because it's been in movies and stuff.
If I heard it, I'd probably recognize it, but I'm really bad with names.
It's from the Speedy commercial, right? The Speedy... I don't know. It was like a... That's what Speedy means to me. No? Okay.
No.
Yeah. I'm not gonna... I think... I'm okay with it being top 5, and if they want to give it number 1, who am I to argue whether it's 67 to now? It's definitely, other than Josh, a pretty well-known song. So I'll give it a pass and say, okay, like I'm okay with it. It's a neat song.
Yeah.
So it's as good as any other. Great singer, good song. So yeah. What about you?
Doesn't really do anything for me, if I'm being honest. I can respect it. But not for me.
And it's funny because this one references
it's
Sam
full of
Cooke.
emotion, but does it?
Yeah, it says something about thinking of suggestions for songs like Sam Cooke's "A Change Is Gonna Come," Ray Charles, and yeah.
Surprised Ray Charles wasn't even in that list.
Well, he's probably further up, but that's a list for another day.
Yep.
So yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think would be songs or at least bands that you think should show up in the top 15?
One I would really like to see is Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun.
Yeah.
That song is just so
It was
cool,
everywhere.
and it has a meaning.
Yeah.
Of just, it's actually pretty depressing. If you look at the video, it's trippy and just weird. You see all these people with great big eyeballs and smiles and stuff. But
yeah, I would put it lower in the list, but I definitely think it's. I mean, if it's gonna, it might be like a good '90s representation because it's well written, played and laid out. And
yeah, it's one of those songs that Josh and I really like to play. It's one that we're really huge fans of Chris Cornell. And that's just one of the songs that we really like to play a lot.
And his vocal range too, right? Like you got to give
Oh,
him some
he was-
credit for that.
Yeah.
He's like
can't
one of our
just-
favorite singers ever too. Like
Yeah, you
He's
can
in
just.
he's got
my
range
top
like
3, I think. Yeah, I think my top 3 is probably like Lane Staley, Chris Cornell, and Chester Bennington. Actually, Corey
but-
Taylor would go
we're
out.
talking songs.
So are you
yeah.
top 15 songs of all time? Are you putting any
15.
of those in there?
Nope.
Like if you're doing an unbiased opinion of what music means to the world, because I don't think they top 500 you could probably squeeze them in there, but top 15 it's a tough like who's like the Rolling Stones, Aerosmith has kind of crossed boundaries and stuff. They might be somebody that sneaks in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably make an argument for Guns N' Roses because they were so big that they were everywhere. You could sneak a song in there.
Yeah.
But I'd say if I were to kind of narrow it down to maybe the best song of all time, I would say it's Hey Jude by the Beatles.
I thought for sure you were going to say Britney Spears.
Toxic?
Womanizer or
No,
something?
no. If I'm looking at, I think Hey Jude is probably the most influencing revolutioned song anyone could have ever wrote. Because there's so much emotion. Because it's like, don't make it bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Make
But
it
is there any
better.
other songs?
Yeah. A lot of the stuff I'm going to say is 90s grunge. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
but
going to say, like, Alice in Chains, Down in a Hole, or Green
So
Day,
if-
Wake Me Up When
So
September
Rolling
Ends, or
Stone would be
something
like,
that.
okay, we got experts from all these different genres. Ryan, we're bringing you in, Ryan and Josh, as the 90s experts to battle with these
Representatives
guys
of the 90s.
to see how many of your songs will win out. And you're putting forward these songs to win, and that's what you're putting forward.
I could probably think of a lot more, too. Like,
I know, I'm trying to think, and I'm just like, I don't know what impacts, what songs have a true big impact that everybody would know in movies and kind of just like all over the place.
you might argue with me on this one, but like a lot of the stuff that David Bowie did, like Space Oddity, like living in a time of that where sci-fi was such a big thing, and you listen to that song and it's like it gets a lot of attention because it's such an interesting song. It's about living in a tin can, but it's so cool.
Where'd you
and
ever
so
get that? It's almost like it was from a lyric or something.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I think country needs to be representative, and I think Garth Brooks is the guy to be on the list. I think he.
I think your sister would agree with you.
Yeah, he was so huge. How do you not? Well written songs, well played, and the guy's
Yeah,
an
the
entertainer.
dance.
The dance.
You know, Beaches of Cheyenne.
Love that song.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be, I guess, one that I would say they kind of missed the mark. To say that country isn't, I don't know how far you
The
have
song
to go.
The Highwaymen, that'd be another one.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah, what an iconic for the 80s representation. What an iconic.
Oh, I kind of think of everyone that's in there. You got Johnny Cash,
Yeah.
Chris Christopherson, Willie Nelson, and Waylon Jennings.
Yep.
You get all them in this one song.
Yeah, you take care
And
of
it's
all
about-
the country right there.
And it's about 4 different stories from 4 different guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so interesting
They
to
catch
hear
the
it.
mood. Yeah, it's well done.
That's just it's a great song. It's it was Reg,
Yeah.
and if you're watching, hi dude, how's it going?
Waiting for my Christmas CD, Reg.
Yeah.
What else you got, Josh?
He's the one who got me that.
Is it?
That's the
Yeah.
CD that had that song, and I was hooked on it.
Yeah, it's an awesome song.
We should have him for a rock talk.
Oh boy.
I would want him
We'd
on.
have to do a lot of research on our country though to bring him on. Country.
He showed me a whole book that's just full of country's greatest hits, and there's like 3 pages of Johnny
and you probably
Cash.
rhyme them all off,
Yeah.
without having to read it. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It was amazing. Any other song you think is impactful enough? It can even be
Well-
a newer song. Like there's a lot of newer bands out that are pretty big.
Josh,
Well-
you'd like songs like Numb. That's a pretty impactful song, or What I've Done.
Yeah.
Like Linkin Park's put out some
I'd
songs
obviously
like that.
put a
And
lot
they
of Linkin
cross
Park.
genres too. 'Cause-
Oh, a lot.
Rap, metal, and pop. And
Yeah, and
just-
they're in the movies all the time.
Yeah.
So
like New Divide by Transformers. That was a great big one.
they're in all the Transformers, right? At the end of every Transformers.
I'm
was
pretty
Linkin
sure.
Park.
What I've Done was really big. Wait, no, it was New Divide that was really big for Transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely put Linkin Park on there for sure.
What would be like the top 3 songs that you would put by them? Because I know
Well-
there'd be a lot that you'd put.
I put a lot of them, but I have to talk about the ones that are popular too, because my favorite songs are not the most popular ones. But
That's a good thing.
yeah.
Means you actually taken full like interest in.
Oh, I know
the
everything
song.
from them.
Oh yeah, you're like how I am with Nirvana.
Yeah. I definitely put In the End on it because that one is just so well written. Like people don't even realize how like dark the lyrics are because they're so busy just listening to the awesome instrumental. Like they listen to the rapping and everything, but they don't realize how deep
And that's
it
like
really
the
is.
way they incorporate the rap. Like,
Yeah.
you know, somebody like Eminem will have to have another artist work with him so that he can get the dual. But you know, Linkin Park, they do it all themselves. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they just had. Yeah, that's why they named the album Hybrid Theory because they just had this crazy theory that they put a couple things together and make a different sound. But yeah, I definitely put that one on there. I'd probably put Numb on there. One More Light on there probably.
One More Light, I think, needs to be in the top 10 songs of all time.
Oh yeah,
One More Light's a really good
I don't
one.
even know if I've heard it.
That's the song that was written about Chris Cornell.
It was on their very last record, and he only sang it like a couple times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And just, it's such a sorrowing song. It's just, you can hear that there is pain when he wrote
Every
that.
time.
And you can know, you kind of know what it's about too, because it came out at the same time.
Every time he sings that song, he usually ends up like crying a little bit because of how much he misses Chris because they were such close friends and like put it this way, they were so close that they named their kids middle names after them. Like they were really close like that. But yeah, I probably put obviously some Corey Taylor on there, some Chris Cornell, Lane Staley, just anything from those
If it was
guys.
Josh's top songs of all time, it would be very, very different than this list
Yeah.
for sure. It would be quite heavy.
Yep.
Heavy.
Yeah, we'd
Yep,
have
it'd
we'd
be
have
very
Slipknot songs on ours that we'd somehow manage to put on our list.
I think Snuff is a really, really well written song though. And Bother by Stone Sour. Those are two really, really powerful songs, I think.
There's songs I think that are even better than that. I think the
Yeah,
song,
there is,
the
but those
song
are very
finale,
influential.
That song is just the lyrics are really depressing.
Yeah, I know,
It's
but they're
about
really
being
deep,
stuck
they're
in a
good.
position where you don't want to. It's basically you've fallen into this spot you don't feel like getting up, and you're basically you've given up on life pretty much.
Yeah, because you'd rather be stuck where you're at than keep going and trying.
Because you're comfortable there. Like I think the song's about
'Cause-
addiction or something like that.
Yeah, Corey, he went through some really deep times where he did want to give up, but he's a fighter, so he's gonna keep going.
Yeah, I would say that's
So, yeah.
that's what we'd have to say about our favorite songs, and not just our favorite, but our in our opinion best
Let's
songs.
end it on this. If you're gonna give the Rolling Stones a score, let's give them like A, B, C, D on how well we think their top 15 was. What would you give them?
D.
D.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give him an F, but I'd definitely.
I think I'm gonna give them an F. I think it was bad. I think they
Yeah.
can do better.
I think they put in some right groups.
I give him a D minus.
I feel like they were trying to be like hipster and be like, What can we do that to throw people off and to think that we're artsy?
Well, they put Bob Dylan and Public Enemy in the same list. Like, who are you trying to appeal to?
That's what I mean. I think they have to put it in categories. Like,
it's
you
not-
can't just put them together like that.
It's not that much of a hybrid theory.
I do
Yeah.
love making fun of Rolling Stone. So we,
Oh, everyone
just
everyone
bad.
rips on them.
if
Everyone does.
if you want to see us rip on some more Rolling Stone, leave a comment. Hopefully you like this video. Subscribe, please, and hopefully we'll get better.
Yep.
Later.
Bye.